Good afternoon from Europe, good morning, good evening, wherever you are, guys. Piotr here is Light Forex Global YouTube channel. Weekend, and because it's a long weekend, so I decided to go with some weekly updates, right? Meaning that we are going to check higher time frames and we are going to try to think what might happen at the very beginning of the next week, especially start from Tuesday. Yes. That's new. That's actually not new. I got back into my hairstyle. Quick introduction, and we are going to get back into the charts within the next few seconds. Hi guys, my 23rd. Finally, I got my own private hairstyle. Saturday morning. It was quite tough week, and we are going to discuss today two parts. During the first part, I'm going to try to summarize the market situation when it comes to the indices, part number one, and part number two, we are going to discuss the majors, right? Ahead of the next week, ahead of the month end related flow. So hopefully that's gonna be very useful for you, some kind of the preparation ahead of the weekly open. So yeah, let's start without a further delay and let's start to check the charts. Well, someone can ask, well, without the mask, I've been safe, guys. There was no one around, so I've been able to record that short intro, with full freedom, I would say that way. Anyway, from the introduction, you know that we are going to discuss indices, and let's start with the US indices, the strongest around the world, recovering 61.8 when it comes to the FIB, as well as that's the latest demand we've seen when it comes to the huge rally. For example, on S&P. And yes, S&P is going to be the first one we are going to discuss. Well, 61.8, and of course there is some activity when it comes to the selling side, right? So even, as you know, I'm holding a little bit of the short currently. Well, 3 weeks ago, there was a really nice rejection, okay? But Fed is buying everything. Now, we had a discussion. Fed is buying everything, but Warren Buffett is saying that because of the Fed action, there is nothing interesting on the market. Okay, so if we are going to take out current zone, if you are a FIB fan, 61.8. If you are a supply demand fan, the consolidation before the breakdown, and that's what we are retesting after the breakdown, right? So I'm talking about this consolidation, right? And we are testing more or less like 50% of that consolidation, 61.8 if you are a FIB fan. So then we are going to probably see much higher levels. In that case, I'm not gonna be surprised to overall see the levels 3,230, 3,330. So, well, another 10% rally when it comes to the S&P, right? Of course, the sellers has to get back below 2,800 as soon as they can, right? But we were trying week ago, right? We were trying 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, all right? And the Fed action and the completely disconnection between the real life and the stocks market is going on. It's enough to say that the latest survey done by the Fox, if I'm not mistaken, showed that let me check the numbers, and I'm to be not like out of nothing, so I'm going to check the numbers. I'm going to tell you everything. Yeah, so it's not from the Fox. It's completely different source. Sorry, it's a Twitter source. 16 million of Americans are losing their healthcare. 38 million Americans are unemployed. 93,000 Americans have died of the coronavirus. 1.5 million Americans have tested positive for COVID-19. But the net worth US billionaires has gone up by 434 billions. So when I'm saying the huge disconnection, that you got the point. Anyway, let's switch lower. Let's switch to the daily chart. It's gonna be a few things are gonna be better visible. So when it comes to the daily chart, it's clearly visible that we are trying to consolidate the latest rally, right? The latest rally on S&P, it was 1-to-1 and consolidation. Well, if the bears are going to be able to break through that, then the retest might be some really nice sign to reshort S&P. In that case, I'm talking about the 2,865. Now, another index I want to discuss is a NASDAQ. Here is totally, you know, we are just few points ahead of the new high. Now, I like the weekly chart here. There is a possibility of the few things. So that's the strongest index when it comes to the main indices. Well, I like the upper shadow of the last week, right? But the close was above previous week high, so it's quite bullish. So in that case, check what we have here and here, meaning some kind of the swing high. So we might want to close that business. So NASDAQ looks like 9,652 from the weekly chart. So if that's the case, let's switch lower. Let's have a look when they're how they wanna go there, right? So probably when it comes to the NASDAQ, that's gonna be based on that channel, right? So we have very long weekend. Then watch Tuesday, Wednesday attempt to pull back somewhere around 9,000 if seen. All right, that's still 5% to the downside. But if we would see some kind of the, you know, growing tension, US-China, then there's some rumors that the Trump wants to reopen the nuclear tests. Then COVID, Hong Kong, Taiwan, plenty of different things going on. So if at the beginning of the week, if there is a possibility to see some kind of the pullback, then probably that's gonna be the action towards this high, at least to close this business, if not blowing off the top and going even higher towards the 10K. Why not? Why not? Come on, it's still possible, all right? Of course, when it comes to the sellers, medium-term signal is below daily weekly close 8,880. Okay, so that's how I see the things. So with S&P a little bit different. Here is a buying possibility on the NASDAQ after deeper pullback. All right. So that's when it comes to the US. What we have in Europe, of course, in Europe, domination of the DAX. The good, the interesting, maybe not good, interesting thing is that, you know, there is a opposition to this German Franco agreement when it comes to the equity to the COVID fund. So there was a discussion about the loans. Then based on that agreement is a question of grants, but for North EU states are opposing DAX, like the S&P and the DJ, because NASDAQ is out of everything, testing somewhere around 61.8 when it comes to the FIB. But here, as you can see, first thing first, well, based on my chart, we didn't close the gap. We trying to test that consolidation from where we went higher, right? So there is a still, I think, key on the DAX is 11,400, and that's what I'm gonna to look for on the upcoming week in the between 11. I'm going to write the zone. So that's the zone over here, okay? So again, very similar to the DAX discussion, but of course different levels. So we're trying to finish the business of this swing high, right? So Wednesday, Thursday, pullback on Friday, a little bit of the recovery, right? So the aggressive sellers are somewhere around this space between 11,300, 11,420, 11,300, 11,420, right? The conservative sellers may try to take advantage of the Friday low, and in case of the daily close below that level, that could open the way lower, right? So if we are going to break 10k 800, so 10,800, and we are going to get the daily close below, that could lead for further losses on the DAX towards 10,400. So looks like the NASDAQ, the most strongest, than S&P and DAX. Well, if there are brave bears around, that's something for them. So the first part of our update when it comes to the indices, we were discussing three the most popular is behind us. As you've heard during the introduction, there is going to be the second part. We are going to discuss FX, the most liquid crosses. So you are more than welcome to join and watch next video. Don't forget to subscribe. That's it from me for now. Thank you very much. Have a great rest of the weekend and watch around for the second part of this weekly update. Thank you, take care, and goodbye.